I get the absolute pleasure of spending time with not only our listeners, but also Giuseppe Tulino today, who I got to meet while I was actually on his podcast a few weeks back, which is super exciting. So we're going to jump right in and we will get to talk with him and hear more about his amazing area of expertise. How are you, Giuseppe? It's great to have you here.
Great to see you again. I'm doing pretty well. Can't
I am
say life
so
is treating
glad.
me poorly.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. I know you mentioned that you've had two record-breaking months in a row, which is really exciting. So congratulations to that. Do you
Thank
want
you.
to share
Thank you.
with our listeners a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the co-founder of Grow Yours, and we work with coaches and consultants to grow their business by way of paid ads. So our specialty is Facebook advertising, Facebook and Instagram, so Meta in general. And then we also dabble in some Google, YouTube, basically everything there.
Nice. That is awesome. What got you interested in doing very specifically coaches and consultants and advertisements?
So I guess I'll start from the very beginning. Uh, I got interested in advertisement because I came out of college, was a serial local business entrepreneur. I tried a whole bunch of different things like um doing Christmas lights and but like landscaping, whole bunch of local business stuff. And my expertise in advertising then was going up to telephone poles and staple gunning a sign to the wall with my phone number. And it worked
Nice.
a little bit, but I mean, obviously, it wasn't the most efficient thing in the world.
Yeah.
And when that didn't really work out, I got a office job as a recruiter, and I absolutely hated that. I did not like being in an office every day, but I was like fairly aware of Facebook ads, so I would like go to my bosses, be like, "Hey, if we just run Facebook ads for this job, like college kids are going to take this internship because that was my job at the time." And they were like, "Nah, we don't really know how it works, blah blah blah." And I was like, "All right, done with this. Back to the entrepreneur stuff." Then I literally just went online, typed in how do I make money online, got into drop shipping and one item stores and like all that different stuff. Did okay, but the profitability is not really there. Margins are really, really slim in drop shipping. But I realized the value of the actual advertising side. So then I ended up finding these mentors who had a one item store that I worked with them and we scaled it to like 250K a month in ad spend. So they were doing a ton of revenue. And then from there, they started teaching people how to do Facebook ads. So I moved with them to their next company, kind of showing everybody what I learned. And I realized the value in like that online coaching space kind of there. So then I started to work at some marketing agencies and I was like, all right, I these one of them was actually for coaches and consultants, so I just got even sharper there. And then it got to the point where I was like, all right, time to make some money on my own. I'm kind of wasting my time here, working for someone else. So I see where the big bucks are. And because I already know the value of what coaches and consultants provide, and I know the struggles that they have with marketing due to like a super saturated market, a bunch of pretenders and everything in between, I decided to start Grow Yours. And now we're here.
That is awesome. I didn't know about the serial entrepreneur that you were a part of. Very cool. I feel like a lot of people, especially when you get into the entrepreneur world, you start to hear stories of I've done this, I've done that, and kind of their collection as to what led them down the path of being more of an entrepreneur every day. Because I know a lot of us were raised with the salary mindset, which is a very different mindset than the entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, my parents didn't force anything on me. Like, my mom would always say, be a lawyer because I can't shut my mouth. And, like, whatever. She was probably just making fun of me or whatever when I was a kid because I've been arguing with everybody I spoke to since I'm born, probably. Like, I used to, when I was really little, I wouldn't let anybody call, like, the pacifier anything besides a pacifier. I would be like 3 years old and I would be like, it's called this. And I would use like the full term and everything. And she was like, you're a lawyer, you're a lawyer. But when I went to college and stuff, they didn't say like, you have to do something, you have to get a job, blah, blah, blah. They were just kind of
Mhm.
like, do whatever you want, which was honestly harder. The idea of just figure it out. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to major in economics because that sounds businessy and then I'll go from there.
Wow, that's really interesting. Were they both entrepreneurs or were they
No, no.
okay?
My dad's old. He's a boomer. So, I mean, I don't know how people listening are going to take
We
that,
won't
but
tell dad that you just said that.
well, he'll say it himself. But he was growing up in America where going to school, going to college did lead to a really good job out of college. And then he was the VP of engineering at like a really big firm called HDR. It's like a global engineering firm. So he was always like thought that was the way, but he's very intelligent and he saw the world around him changing quite rapidly. So he never really like pushed anything onto me, except he told me not to be an engineer because he said my personality will find it so boring. And he was like, it's just not for you. And then my mom, she raised four kids, so she was in the house all the time. And she was probably more preoccupied with my other siblings than me because I was kind of the smart one. So I was just left alone and the middle child.
Aw.
But yeah,
We
like
won't let your
now my
siblings
mom
hear this
has
recording
her own
either.
business though. What's up?
I said we won't let your siblings hear this recording.
Yeah, so but now my mom actually does run her own business. She is a
Very cool.
broker for families with disabilities and helps them manage the budget that they receive from the state. I'm from New York, so like that's
Yeah.
a New York specific thing.
Yeah.
And because actually two of my siblings do have special needs, so that's why she got into that line of work
Yeah.
and she figured there's a ton of other people like her that had no idea what was going on. So
Yeah.
she technically is an entrepreneur now, but we kind of started around the same time, which is funny.
Aw, that maybe you inspired her too. That's awesome.
Maybe. She would always see me. I would sit at the house like once I quit my job and I would just sit there and read books all day. And
Oh,
she'd be like, "When are you
wow.
going to get another job?" I'm like, "Never. I'm going to figure out how these books work and I'm going to do it myself."
Yep, very much so. Those books are great, especially because A, there are so many, but B, it really is enough evidence to say if they can figure it out, so can I.
Yeah, I would always be like, "What's the difference between this person and me?" And there
Hmm.
really wasn't much. Like they weren't
Yeah.
super impressive people before they got to the point where they were impressive, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. So now I know you also have a partner in Grow Yours, right? What made
Yes.
you partner up with somebody?
He's my best friend since we're
Oh,
14.
oh
And
wow.
yeah, so funny story how we became friends. I didn't go to public school my whole life. I went to
Okay,
private school, Catholic school.
nice.
And when I went to high school, I got to like one of those specialized school, but it was public.
Okay.
And to get your school lunch, you have to like input a number in that I didn't know existed because I was never in the public school system. So I couldn't
Oh,
get any lunch and I was sitting by myself. And this, my friend Yusuf, well, wasn't my friend at the time. He came over. He was
yeah.
like, aggressively, kind of. He was like, "Why don't you have any lunch?" And I was like, "I don't know how to get it." And he was like, "All right, we'll just split mine." And we shared his, and we've been best friends ever since.
Aw, how awesome is that?
Yeah,
That is
and we're
very
total
cool.
opposites, which is another
Oh,
good reason to be in business together. Because I'm more the aggressive sales marketing side. He's the
okay.
technical, let's sit down and think about this side. So it's
Yeah.
good yin and yang.
I was going to say good balance. Very awesome. That's great. What do you think is a really big misconception about growing your business? Especially in the area where there's coaches and consultants. Do you find there to be a lot of misconceptions about it?
Yeah, the internet makes it seem like it's so easy. You scroll on Instagram and LinkedIn, and everybody's like, how I scaled from 0 to 72K a month in 90 days. It's like, all right, like, first of all, as a marketer, I understand that it's all about the messaging and the angle that you're taking. 72K doesn't necessarily mean 72K a month. They just said 0 to 72. It could be 72 annual recurring run rate, which means that divide that by 12 is the actual number that they're talking about. So
That's a
being,
really good point.
yeah, so being able to understand the messaging and the angles that people are taking, you have to kind of have a special skill already. So I
Definitely.
think the internet makes it seem like getting into that line of business is really easy as long as you have some sort of expertise. But there's so much more that goes into client acquisition and growing the business that no one tells you about until you get
Yeah.
there and you're like, huh, I quit my job. I'm running out of money. I'm still good at the thing I know about, but no one wants to listen to me. Why?
Definitely. I completely agree with that, especially because every other reel is somebody saying that they scaled their business or that they made this much. And it's also going, okay, well, how? What's making you different than this other person? How did you start to understand, especially because they change so often, the Facebook ads and Instagram ads, I feel like they change, the algorithm changes really often.
Oh man, the algorithm just changed actually. There was a huge update about like 60 days ago. The Facebook calls it the Andromeda update or Andromeda. I don't know how to pronounce it
Hmm.
properly, but it's got my world on its head right now.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's scrambling to figure out the new best practices. You go on YouTube, every single person is posting how I figured out how to run ads with the new Andromeda update as of, and then like the date, and then every single person figured out the best way, and they're all different.
Hmm.
But really the core of it all, it comes down to your creative messaging. So what you're actually saying in the ad is the most important part, and what is actually being said on your landing page and in your VSL or webinar or whatever the back end item is to your ad. Like it's to the point now where you can't out tech Facebook. It used to be very technical, where you're going in there, you're setting up certain audiences, certain bids, all these different aspects of what ads take. And now with the Andromeda update, they kind of like shot that all in the foot. And they're just like, either your messaging is going to resonate with our algorithm and it's going to push towards the right people, or your copy is not good enough and your ads are going to fail. So, um,
Wow.
that's kind of the state it's in now.
Yeah.
When I first figured it out, it was very technical, so it was a lot. I'm a technical guy, so that was a lot
Hmm.
easier for me. But now, as things get more to the creative side, I've been getting a lot better with my copywriting and all different aspects like that. Probably gonna bring a copywriter onto the team soon, so I can focus more on like the business growth part. But
Nice.
that's what we got going on.
That's awesome. Do you find that, well, I was going to say, what was something that you wish people understood about ads if they went out without you being able to put their information out there and they were trying it on their own? And I've heard of a variety of different things. So I was just curious as to what you would hope more people would either A, reach out to you, and if they didn't have the finances to reach out to you, what else could they do?
Like outside of ads, what do I suggest you're saying?
Well, how could they do ads on their own without you? Like, do they have to spend a certain number? And
There's truthfully, there's no concrete number, but the
okay.
the thing with Facebook ads for the most part is like 95% of what you try is going to fail.
Oh
So
gosh.
yeah, I mean maybe 95 is an exaggeration. Let's say like 85, but for the purpose of conversation, we'll say 95.
Hmm.
You're gonna think you know what your target market wants. You're gonna put something out, you're gonna love it, and then the data is gonna say it's garbage. And there's $150 out the window because it takes around like that much to really test something
Yeah.
out. And it's gonna take around 90 days to really figure out what works, and it's gonna be 90 days of spending. Maybe 60 days of spending with like 30 days of setup in the beginning.
Hmm.
So the one thing that I would suggest to people is to really dial in the pain points of their ideal customer profile. That is definitely the
That's a
number
really
one
good
thing
point.
you should do before you get into ads. Talk to the customers you currently work with, talk to past customers, find out what was good, what was bad, and try to find like create like a giant Venn diagram in your brain, or you could just go on Miro and create that actual thing. Find where they all connect, that one thing, and then try to dial in all your messaging and your copywriting, your funnel, your VSL into that one really big pain point. And I think that is what's going to help people without going to a professional, is really, really understanding that. Because something in general I notice with business owners is they're either going too broad and they're not speaking directly to anybody, or even when they are, I don't want to say intelligent enough because that's not the word, aware enough to go to that niche and really narrow it down, they may be focusing on the wrong aspect of that niche. So,
Really good point too.
yeah, all in
Pain
all,
points, yeah.
that's the most important thing.
Yeah. That's a great tip. What's the hardest lesson that you've learned this far? Or the lesson, one of the biggest lessons that unfortunately was the hardest to learn?
No matter where people are in their business, they're still human beings. And like what I mean by that is I'm a very analytical person. I like numbers and the data says it all for the most part. Obviously, there's aspects in life where it doesn't. But when it comes to my line of work, data tells everything. So I realized when dealing with people, especially business owners, because their business is like their child,
Oh
it's
yeah.
not much different. They created it from nothing and have brought it from zero to wherever it's at. And they will act emotionally.
Oh
So
yeah.
you have to have the emotional intelligence to deal with clients and understand, like, all right, they're not looking at things the way you are. And
Hmm.
it's going to take some time for them to understand, like, this is how we need to move. This is what needs to be done. It's all database decision making. And that's honestly a huge adjustment for a lot of people when they come into my world of like digital marketing.
Hmm. That definitely makes sense. How do you offer guidance to your clients, especially because you do end up talking about something that's very, very personal to them. And you're right, it's nearly their child.
I pre-prep them. I say, I'm like, look, guys, we're starting this engagement on the onboarding call. I'll be like, I'm going to be very blunt. I'm going to tell you exactly what is happening and exactly what we need to do based on the data, not based on what I think, not based on what I
Hmm.
feel, based on what we're seeing and results. And some of it you may not agree with, but the whole point of this engagement is that I'm the expert that you're bringing onto the team, and
Yeah.
you want to focus on the other aspects of your business that you need to grow. So I need you to fully commit to obviously give your input because it is your business, but I need you to
Hmm.
fully commit to working with me and understanding that I am also trying to get the best for your business, regardless of if you may agree with it or not. And usually people really do appreciate the very upfront honesty
I was
because
going to
it
say
just
that's a great tone to set.
yeah, it just kind of eliminates the gray area off the bat. And
Yeah.
then after that conversation, we can go back to being friends. And it's like, all right, now let's talk in a relaxed tone and figure this out together.
Yeah. That's a great, really strong way to set the frame too. What do you think most business owners may be avoiding or that it might be costing them when it comes to marketing and Facebook ads and Instagram ads?
Honestly, I think the biggest cost is in not getting into ads.
Okay. Not
I
getting
think
into ads.
the opportunity cost of potential revenue missed is far greater than whatever you're going to invest into ads. Because most coaches and consultants are high ticket, right? So
Hmm.
anywhere as low as 2,500, but let's say for the sake of the conversation, 5,000 per client, right?
Hmm.
If you're willing to spend that 3,000 a month on ads and you get one client, you're in the green.
That is a
You're
good
not in
point.
the you're not significantly in the green, but you're in the green.
Hmm.
But if you don't spend the money on ads and you don't get that client, that's 5,000 missed. So even if you don't get that client in the first month of spending that 3,000, you
Hmm.
actually lose 2,000 more theoretically by not making the attempt.
That's really interesting. Nice. Is that something that you teach on your webinars and that you teach your clients going forward or that
I
you
don't
share
do
with them on a
webinars.
sales? Okay, I didn't know if you did it
I,
on your sales calls or potential
on my
sales calls
sales
or
calls,
something.
yes.
Okay.
I try to express the opportunity costs. I guess that's where college paid off. That's the economics brain in me, where it's like, all right, you could either lose 3,000 or lose the opportunity of 5,000, which technically holds more value.
That
But
is an
yeah,
excellent point.
that's something I definitely try to put across.
That's great. What do you find that your winning clients or your succeeding clients do that your clients who are struggling, what don't they do? What do you ever notice the difference between the two?
A lot of it is the willingness to step a little bit outside of their comfort zone. Like I had a client
Okay.
recently where they were like, "Well, we don't want to do video ads. We just want to do images." I was like, "Well, this is not going to work unless you get on camera and speak face to face to the people that you're trying to work with." And
Hmm.
eventually they gave and did that, but it's honestly the people who are already more comfortable putting themselves out there that tend to be more successful. And honestly, that's kind of the people that I try to look for and work with just because it's a little bit easier on my end.
Hmm.
But the ability to take yourself and be vulnerable on camera to people
Oh yeah.
and be able to really put across what you're saying to them in a way that resonates with them is the most important thing, which a lot of that comes from what I'm doing, right? If I'm writing the right copy, that's already in words, that's done. But you have
Hmm.
to be willing to do that in actions as well. So I think that's something that's really important. And people who stress less win more, which
That's a really good bumper sticker.
it is. I never said that before out loud, but it sounds pretty good. But like obviously stress is important, right? Without stress, we're not human, and there's no
Mhm.
desire to fix things if you're not stressed. But you can control what you can control, right? And if
Mhm.
you put something together and it doesn't really work out, and you're like, hey, I messed up, blah blah blah. I don't want to try again. That's not really it. Like you made the attempt, which is what you can control. You can't really control the result. You could do your best to get towards the result you want, but you
Yeah.
can't control that, so to speak.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
guess people who are willing to accept that stress and kind of let it brush off them, almost like athletes, the same concept of move on to the next play. You
Mhm.
missed a shot, you got to make the next one. It's kind of
Yeah.
the same thing, honestly, which is why a lot of athletes end up being pretty good at like sales jobs and as business owners and things like that because
Mhm.
they understand that I had a friend in college where um, I mean, we would go out and like drink and do stupid stuff, and like
Mhm.
somebody be embarrassed what they did the night before, and he would always tap him on the shoulder, and he'd be like, "It's a new day." He's like, "You got
Yeah.
to move on. Day's new, and what you did yesterday, regardless of what it was, I mean, as long as you didn't hurt anybody, you're all good, you know."
That's a really good point. I was wondering, is that something that guides you in making what some people might call bigger decisions, where they might just now, instead of this overwhelming decision, it might just be a decision for that type of mentality.
Yeah, for me, I used to really stress. Honestly, in the last like 6 months is when I kind of developed a lot more of this mentality.
Hmm.
Like I would have a sales call, it would fail, and I'd beat myself up for like 2 hours. But 2 hours is a lot of time. Like
Yeah.
you can get a lot done in 2 hours. So now it's almost just like every decision is totally just like, all right, evaluate, decide, do it in a short period of time, see result, reevaluate, decide, do that in a short period of time, so on and so forth.
I
And
love
then you
that.
kind
That's
of
a great
just,
one.
yeah, for lack of a better term, you throw shit at the wall till it sticks, you know?
I was so for sure you were gonna go with spaghetti, like throw pasta at the wall and see if it sticks. But I follow that one. That's a really funny one. Was there ever a point where you thought, you know what, let me fold up shop. I'm good with this piece right now. I'm gonna move on to something else.
Yeah, like once a week. But no, in reality, like everybody gets frustrated and
Oh
you
yeah.
have those thoughts. Like I'm a human just like everybody else. I have those thoughts where
Yeah.
something goes wrong and I really wanted to go right. Like right now, I just signed this new client, really like him as a person. He has a great business. And in the first 2 weeks, like nothing's really happened. And I'm
Mhm.
beyond frustrated about it, more frustrated than he is,
Yeah.
honestly. And then you got the little guy on your shoulder. It's like, you're not good enough. You don't know how to do this. And it's like, that's just a feeling, and feelings are
Mhm.
fleeting. But in reality, like I know that I can because I've done it multiple times before.
Yeah.
So just a matter of all right, regroup, see what's working, see what's not, and go again.
I love it. I really think especially after this is recorded and put out, you should go back and notice all your catchphrases and your bumper stickers, and you might have a completely additional side career here. How about if somebody was listening and you wanted them to have one big takeaway when it comes to burnout or confusion? What's something that you might encourage them to notice?
That it's okay to step away. That's something else
Mhm.
I never really learned
That's a good
until
one too.
recently. That there is a point where you literally can't do more good work, and it's okay to put your mind into something else and like completely think about something different. Because a lot of times my best ideas happen when I'm not at the desk and when I'm not trying to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, when you're having those feelings of despair, and I mean, if you got stuff to do, you got stuff to do, especially like fulfillment. Like sometimes you just got to do something that's tedious. You don't like to do it, but you got
Yeah.
to do that stuff. But then when it comes down to like thinking time, business growth time, if you really feel like you're not getting anywhere and you just want to take a bite out of your computer screen, it's okay to go outside, walk the dog, or go and watch some mindless Netflix show or whatever you want to do that
Yeah.
makes
Take a break.
you childish happy. There's different
Yeah.
levels of happy. There's success happy. There's um love happy. There's all different things. But sometimes you need
Yeah.
to just be child happy and giggle at something or
Yeah.
do whatever you like. And I think that's important.
Those are awesome insights, Giuseppe. I love that. Is there anything else you want to share with our awesome listeners today? Other than the
Um,
best way to reach you, of course.
I mean, the best way to reach me is to go to my LinkedIn and you could book a
Ah,
meeting with me
LinkedIn.
there or shoot a message over to me, Giuseppe Tulino on LinkedIn. You could see my website, growyours.io, and you
Nice.
could email me at giuseppe@growyours.io. But I guess one thing, well, I guess I need some clarification. What level of entrepreneurs are we talking to right now?
All different levels, to be quite honest. So is
I
there a specific one that you resonate most with?
Yeah, I'm probably earlier in my entrepreneurial career, so to my peers, I would say that it's only going to get harder, and that's okay. It's okay. The whole
Thank
point of
goodness you get
choosing this path,
stronger.
yeah. So it's okay that it's only going to get harder, and if you're willing to go through the harder, it's only like it's an exponential curve, and once you hit the point where things start to pick up, it's only going to get better and better and better. And then
Nice.
for the older entrepreneurs, you probably don't know much about ads. So I would either find somebody who knows a lot about them or commit some time to learning about them. But you could just reach out to me and I could help you out.
Those are awesome, awesome insights and bits of wisdom. So great stuff.
Thank
Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And to our listeners, thank you so much. And we will talk with you next time. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.